Welcome to the Fitchburg Cultural Council's September meeting. We're opening the meeting at 4:32 p.m. and we welcome everybody who's joined us today. The Fitchburg Cultural Council is part of the Massachusetts Cultural Council, which is a body that's put in place by here locally, our government, our local government. We're all in our seats as volunteers, put in place by the mayor's office, and we're all volunteers that are here to support the arts and the creative economy in our local town. So we welcome everybody for coming today. This meeting is being recorded. Everything is public for public record. And so everything we say today should be, we should note that it's going to be saved for future use. So anything relating to the agenda we can talk about with anybody from the public. We welcome the public to join us every month. And thanks, Jen, for joining us today. I don't think you have anything to share from the agenda? No. Well, thank you for coming. So our first agenda item today is the new members. We want to welcome our two new members, newest members, and we're looking for new members still, Catherine and Ellen.
Oh, Natalia is here.
Oh, welcome, Natalia. Thank you for coming.
Do you want to try to make her into the panelist? Want to go out to talk?
Yeah. Technology is fun. So we have a member of the public with us, Natalia. We wanted to give you an opportunity if there's anything you'd like to, Natalie, if I have the name wrong. If there's anything on the agenda that you'd like to speak to, let me know now.
Hi. Nope. I'm just here to observe and kind of see what goes on.
Perfect. Well, welcome to the meeting. All right, so we'll move. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I said thank you for
you're welcome.
having me.
Thank you for joining us. And we hope you'll be a new member. So that's why we have new members on the top of the list. All right, our second agenda item is the sculpture park. I wanted to give everybody a quick update today. This was on our agenda from August, and we had Elisa Adams from the New England Sculptors Association who was with us, and Melanie Zibbett, who's a sculptor in Shirley, who spoke to us a little bit about the concept of sculpture parks in towns. And I want to thank the Fitchburg Redevelopment Authority for meeting with us today. They gave me an opportunity to speak. Liz was there. So if anybody has any questions about the meeting, I'm sure they have minutes that can be shared. Basically, the Fitchburg Redevelopment Authority is open to allowing a sculpture park on their property on the corner of, I don't know the streets, but it's the Johnsonia lot, provided that we have a good plan to give them, to present to their board. They also meet monthly. And Megan O'Donoghue has given us the opportunity to work with her on a proposal to present to her board for a sculpture park in the future. So that's a quick update, and I just want to thank the board of the Fitchburg Redevelopment Authority and Megan for allowing us to speak to them this morning. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask.
What would our next step be?
So Megan asked that we present a proposal to them, which I think is going to involve the New England Sculptors Association.
Okay.
And that has to go to their board, and then they'll give us an okay to temporarily use that lot, and then we have to go to the city, to you guys.
Right. So do we need to define what the scope and the size? Because I know we talked about the Johnsonia lot, but potentially some other along the sidewalks on Main Street or other areas too. So we need to have that figured out before we really get into a proposal with the New England Sculpture Association.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there any chance, Liz, you could go with me?
Yes, there's a good chance.
Okay. Megan wants to meet next week.
Okay.
All right. Thanks. So I don't have anything we need to vote on for that. I think maybe once Liz and I and Megan can work on something, I can bring it here and you guys can vote on it just to give the council's endorsement on it.
So the council's involvement with the sculpture park is simply an endorsement of the project?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so your conversation with Megan, did it talk about funding at all or just space?
Space.
Space. So is this a Creative Cities?
It could be. It would be great if it could be. Yeah.
Okay. And then maybe perhaps an application into whoever the lead is, into the Cultural Council itself.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping, AJ, that the council could give like an endorsement, get the ball rolling, and pass it, and pass the torch to.
I see your process. Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It does.
Because obviously we don't have a lot of funding You know, it's not
No,
something we
the
could
numbers
do.
that they were talking about
Yeah,
Right.
last meetings were quite understandably so, but it's an expensive endeavor it has a high benefit to the public. It's just the capital to get it moving is certainly a little large.
well, I thought based on the Creative Cities folks this morning, I thought it's something that would be great for them to get involved in, the city. And I think the Redevelopment Authority, they seemed excited about it too this morning.
Yeah, they did.
So I was hoping at least our little group here could get the ball rolling and then have some of these larger entities pick it up.
Perfect.
So thanks for going down that path with me, guys. We're going to move on to grants on the next agenda item. I'm going to turn this section over to Audrey, who's been keeping track of grants since Eileen has left us. We have at least three. Monique didn't come today, so I don't know what we're going to do about that. But we have three items here that Audrey's going to talk to us about: the New Players Guild, the City of Angels, and the Swan Hope Press, and these are all things we need to vote on. So could you present them to us, Audrey?
All right, so New Players Theater Guild sent us an email, which you guys should all have. It looks like this document.
City of Angels.
There's a bunch of blacked out things on there. John, if you want, you can grab like any of the paperwork too, if you want to follow on. This is for FY23 LCC 40965. The program was originally called City of Angels. This is for the New Players Theater Guild. We awarded them $1,500. On September 2nd, 2023, they wrote, "Dear Ms. Chow, New Players Theater Guild would like to request a change to our scheduled November production for which we received a grant from the Fitchburg Cultural Council. Our original request, FY23 LCC 40965, was the production of the musical City of Angels. But after some serious consideration, we have decided to switch to the musical The Music Man. We have already held auditions with good response and have cast the production. We believe that this beloved musical will be more approachable and received by the public and a better fit for our production team. The production dates will remain the same: November 3rd, 4th, 5th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. We thank the Fitchburg Cultural Council for the continued support of the New Players Theater Guild in consideration of this change of request." So the New Players Theater Guild is asking for a grant modification to change their program from City of Angels to The Music Man.
Motion to accept.
Second the motion.
So we have a motion from AJ to accept the request from the New Players Theater Guild, LCC 40965, and a second from Shara. Anybody speaking to the motion? Shara?
I just want to say, I think that this is completely, it's a no-brainer. It's, it's nothing to complain about, and yes, we should approve it.
Thank you, Shara. Anybody else speaking to the motion?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with City of Angels, but I'm sure we had a discussion whether or not it was too religious or if it's secular or not. I think we must have decided that it was secular enough or not religious at all. But The Music Man, I haven't seen it, but from what my understanding is that it's not at all religious, so.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Thank you to the New Players Theater Guild. Let's go to Swan Hope Press next.
All right, so the next one is for FY23 LCC 35768, Swan Hope Press 2023 projects. Catherine Swanty is the recipient, and the award was $1,746. The original grant application, so if anyone doesn't know what Swan Hope Press is, it's a local publishing company, right? By Catherine Swanty and Sally Cregan. And in their original grant application, they said that it would include the projects Footsteps to Brilliance with the Fitchburg Public School English language learners, Scenes from the Heart of New England, coloring book Civil War Veterans, Forest Hill Cemetery walking guide. I think there should be a comma there, sorry. This was the email on Tuesday, September 19th, 2023, at 7:35 a.m., Catherine Swansea wrote, "I am requesting an extension for this project. I have not completed all the drawings. Thank you." I asked, I'll bring it up to today's meeting during the grants portion. Is there anything else you'd like to say in your request? Timeframe? She responded, we have received a 1-year extension from the other towns. It has taken longer to do the illustrations than I realized it would. Thank you, Kathy.
So she's asking for a 1-year extension.
Yes.
Anybody want to make a motion?
I will make a motion to approve a 1-year extension to Swan Hope Press 2023 projects.
Thank you, Liz. Anybody want to second the motion? Catherine, thank you. Anyone speaking to the motion? Shara?
I'm just curious of what our parameters and guidelines are about extending something into the next year. I know we were allowed to do that last year, but that was because it was post-pandemic. I don't know that we're in the same circumstance, so I would love to know what the rules are.
Yeah. I would ask Liz what is like a good time frame, because I think June is a good extension date. Would you say
Looking for a 1-year extension.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we go calendar year. So she'd be looking, if she's actually asking for another year extension, she's asking for an extension through
December 31st?
2024, yeah.
So do we want to hold up the money or re-grant it?
Or do a shorter extension?
I mean, we could,
Liz?
if we did a shorter extension, it would be good to have that money dispersed by June 30th of the 2024, I guess that would be, because that way we would know whether or not we are actually dispersing it or rolling it over into reprogrammable funds for the next year's program activities.
So maybe her deadline should be May 30th of 2024, so that our June meeting, we can make that decision.
That sounds reasonable, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Anybody want to adjust their motion?
I will.
May 31st.
I will amend my motion to say extended through May 31st, 2024.
Okay, thank you, Liz. Anybody want to second the motion?
I'll second it.
We have a second from Shara. Anyone speaking to the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, thank you very much. So thank you, Swan Hope Press, Catherine Swanty. You have till May 31st, 2024. All right, let's move on to First Thursday Live Painting Days with Monique. Monique is not here.
She's not here. She said, "Hi, FCC, Monique here. I just have a small adjustment or two I would like to do for my grant I got for this year. Can I please be in the agenda for the upcoming meeting? I can send a document for what I would like to adjust prior to the meeting. Thank you. Best, Monique." She did not send in the document. I told her that she would be able to fit in during this agenda. But I did talk to her, and she said that she said verbally that she's interested in a grant extension. I don't know if we want to put that on hold until she can formally write that, or verbally at a meeting. What do you guys think?
Somebody needs the motion if we're going to discuss, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to know a little bit more about what she's looking for. I mean, is she
Yeah.
just looking
Let's just
to-
ask her to come next
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah, because, I mean, she still has till December 31st, so to show up here and ask for an extension, so,
or
modification or
this.
whatever.
You know, she actually
is
can
that she's
implement
asking.
it.
All right, let's invite her to come to the next meeting then. and
Yeah.
We can move on.
Or send an email with more information.
More information. Which a letter would work. Everybody should know you guys can correspond with us, and that works in lieu of you guys being in public with us. All right, so I think that's all we have.
One more thing
more?
for grants. Yeah.
Excuse me? Oh, yeah.
Okay, so it took me a long time, but I finally finalized the FY22 grants after the changeover with Eileen in June. The one thing that was not accounted for was for FY22 LCC 11321, Zachary Boss, for the program Abolitionist Voices, a Community Publishing. The final award was for $1,500, but he only requested $750 on March 25th, 22. That's when the check was cut. But he has not sent in a final report, an expense report, or proof of crediting on the program. So this was FY22. That deadline has long passed. I have given him grace in terms of letting him know we would be discussing it in a meeting where there would be minutes. But I think now it's the time that we're going to have to decide if we want to ask him to return the money back, and if not, it will implicate him from receiving a grant award from us, either for this year or like if we want to put a time frame on it or not.
So let's take a motion so we can talk about it.
I'm sorry, can you just, I hate
Yes.
to ask, can you just give me so this is an FY22,
Yes.
and his application was for 15, this is just for the minutes.
Yes.
$1,500, he submitted for $750. We've cut the check,
Yeah.
and there's no final report.
There's no final report.
And how many times, and we've discussed this with him a couple of times?
Yes, informally.
Informally? Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank
And I will say that he is also a FY23 grant recipient, and I don't know if he has received, he has not requested funding for FY23 yet. But yeah, I mean, Zach's definitely doing good work, but I'm not sure why he isn't getting back on submitting the final report. But I think if he returns the money, then no harm, no foul. You know, if your program just doesn't happen, then, you know, it's okay. These things
okay.
happen. But yeah.
Let's make a motion.
What the motion should be.
I'm not sure either.
It would have to be in
what I
the
was gonna-
affirmative, whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Make a motion to have him return the funds.
I like that.
Okay, I will make a motion to reach out to Zachary Boss and have him either fill out a final report or return the funds by the end of the month,
By our next meeting.
by our next meeting. Yes, by our next meeting.
So we have a motion from Shara that Mr. Zachary Boss would return the funds from FY 2022 or submit a final report by the October 2023 meeting. Thank you, Shara. Anyone want to second the motion?
I'll second it.
We have a second from Audrey. So now, anybody speaking to the motion? Liz?
Yes, I just want to be clear, when we initially started talking about this, we were strictly talking about returning the funds, but he could actually, if he completed the activity, he could send us a report, and then I think he just needs to understand that if he doesn't do either of those things, he's not going to be eligible to receive future grants, and that should be communicated to him that he needs to do his part, or he
Yeah.
will not be eligible for future grants.
Thank
Is
you,
that-
Liz.
is
Anybody
that
else? Wait, we
pure-
have Catherine, hold on.
I'm
Audrey.
speaking to the motion. Is there set in place a Google form or some kind of a template for him to fill out that would assist? Some people perhaps would find it easier to have a post, template to use
We have
for a
one.
report, or is,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple form. It just asks, when was your program completed? How many people attended?
Okay.
Did you credit? I think the hardest part is looking up the numbers.
Okay.
So,
Shara?
I just looked it up. Our next meeting is October 17th. So, I don't know.
which is
Audrey,
the
if you're-
day of the application deadlines for FY24. So, he's got a decision to make, right?
Right, so I would say that, I think, Audrey, if you were dealing with grant stuff, that you would send him an email.
Yeah.
And let him know that he either needs to return the funds or have a final report to us. And I think maybe it shouldn't be the 17th, it should be by, like, the Friday before. So that's Tuesday, Monday, Sunday, Saturday.
Do we want to make it October 15th, because that's an easy date to remember? I don't know what day that lands on, but
15th, I think, is on the weekend, though. Yeah, the 13th is
Sunday.
Friday.
So we need to amend
AJ?
the motion if we're going to do that.
We need to what?
Amend the motion.
amend the
Yeah, we do.
motion.
Actually, no, I take that back. No, oh, yeah, we do.
We do.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else speaking to the motion before we amend or adjust or vote?
Do we want to clarify how long this will affect him receiving future grants? Like, is it just for like 1 year, or is it just indefinite? We let
I feel
next
like
year
if he
figure that out?
doesn't clear this up, then he's not eligible, period.
Ever.
Once he clears it up, then we can,
Yeah.
Through those informal conversations, what has he been providing you for input?
Not much. He usually distracts me. He says, "Okay, I'll work on that," and then he and then he brings up something else that, and then I'm like, "Oh yeah, but then
Understood. Got it.
yeah."
Got it. Thank you.
All right, so we have the motion
Unclear.
from Shara to have Mr. Zachary Boss return his final report by our next meeting or return the funds. We have a second from Audrey. Would you like to amend your motion,
I
Shara?
want to amend the motion to have Zachary return the $750 funds or the final report by October 15th, so that we have time to process before our next meeting. And we need to communicate with him that he is not eligible for future grants if he does not comply.
Thank you very much. So
Second that.
we have a second from Audrey. Anybody else speaking to this motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. So, Mr. Ross, we hope you get in touch with us quickly. Thank you, everybody. Any other grant notes? I think we can move on to the treasurer's report because that kind of goes in line with this.
Yeah. I've updated the dates for when checks were received on my grant reports as well. Yeah, I don't know if we need to vote on the finalization of those grant reports or not, but
No, I don't think so.
Sounds
We do
good.
need to vote on the treasurer's report. Liz, you're up next.
All right, so not a lot of activity in the last month of August. So this is an August Treasurer's Report. It actually technically goes through September 15th, just because when I was pulling the information, I noticed that there was a check cut September 15th, so I included it. But there's really no change to the local account. Those balances remain the same at a combined balance of $3,581.21, and that includes a $500 scholarship. The FY22 account, we did have one transaction, and that was actually charged to admin for FY22, and that was for Eddie Troxler's performance at the public input meeting. The reason why it's in FY22 is because we did not allocate admin in FY23. We didn't set aside any money for admin. But I haven't reconciled this balance to Audrey's FY22 grant award sheet. Theoretically, the amount unpaid should match the balance for FY22 here, less the admin funds. So I will do that and see where we stand for next month.
And we will need that.
Yes. On the backside of this, there are two new transactions for FY23, the holiday lights for the Upper Common. Those funds were dispersed, as well as Matt York Songs and Stories. That was actually dispersed in September. So you can see the total balance left there is $23,782. So folks who haven't requested their grant funds yet and are ready to do so should please do so by the end of this fiscal year. Calendar year, not fiscal year. And then below you see a summary. So our combined totals of all of our accounts, we have $31,695.32. And looking at the FY22 funds that are still left, we should be able to reprogram those for next year. So that would be $7,913.32 to reprogram. That is not a final number, but that's a working number.
Thank you so much, Liz. All right, would anyone like to make a motion on the treasurer's report?
I motion that we accept this treasurer's report.
Thank you, Shara. Anyone want to second the motion?
Second the motion.
Thank you, Ellen. Anyone speaking to the motion? So all in favor? Thank you, Liz, for your hard work. Thank you, Audrey, for your hard work. That's awesome. All right, so the next thing is events. I just wanted to quickly talk about the Winter Bazaar. We did it last year. I know Liz would like support if we're going to do it again this year. So I wanted to ask the council, are we interested in doing a Winter Bazaar this year? And if so, who would like to help, or should we pass it this year?
Can I speak to it?
Sure, there's no motion on the table. Go ahead.
Liz and I were talking, and I was reading the LCC guidelines and such, and it occurred to me that perhaps the way how I've been reading subcommittees might have been, maybe there's more room than I thought there was. I think that perhaps if our subcommittee is less than quorum, that subcommittee should be able to talk freely, as long as it's not a voting matter, of course. But that subcommittee should be able to talk freely amongst each other to plan events and such. And that's, in the past, that's been my hang-up about hosting events of the council, because I said, well, how can we do that if we always have to post an agenda in order to discuss things? And then, you can only talk to, one person from the council. That doesn't really make sense. But I think, obviously, maybe we have to get clarification from, the city clerk or from the state about this. But I think if our subcommittee is less than quorum, I think
That's right.
it should be feasible and fine.
Yeah, that's right. Anybody else have any thoughts about the Winter Bazaar? Liz?
If we're going to do this, I need all the help I can get. That's,
I know.
yeah.
Shara?
I would be on to help again. So,
Is this something that the Alliance would be interested in doing, and as opposed to the council itself?
They were involved last year.
Sorry?
They were involved,
I think
sort of.
They were
Alliance-
involved, but no,
But
as
not
a member of the
formally.
Alliance, I can say that I think that most of the Alliance, at least the Main Street Studio artists would probably, be involved with it.
Well, at least be benchers.
I think AJ, and I don't want to speak for you, AJ, but I think you're talking about the organization of it, correct? Not participation in, but the
correct.
organization of.
The Alliance would take the lead. It's similar to what they do with Open Studios,
Yeah.
right?
I could bring it to them, but I can't speak for the whole.
No, I wouldn't expect that, right?
Yeah.
I don't see it feasible with,
I know
culture
the
council.
Alliance is also doing
Other things.
other things at.
No, understood.
At the
Understood.
studio space. So
Yep.
I don't know if it's a conflict or not, but I'll ask Jesse and I'll see.
So should we table it, Liz, until next month?
Yeah, I don't,
it's either we're going to do it or not.
I know.
I kind of, it's September.
Right, we have to know we're doing it.
Anybody want to make a motion then?
Oh, I was just going to say one more thing before we
ahead.
motion. Currently, quorum is it 4 or is it 5? It's 1.5, right? If it's even, so that means 5 is our quorum. So we could have a 4-person subcommittee. But something to be mindful of is that Winter Bazaar typically takes place at the beginning of December during grant reviews that we're doing weekly. So I don't know if that was extra difficult, Liz, or not for you, but if maybe 3 or 4 people want to volunteer to be part of that subcommittee, I feel like it's more feasible than not.
right.
Can we maybe have a motion to do
Vote on
this,
it.
if we can get at least 4 volunteers by the end of this week.
That seems reasonable.
It's an interesting motion. Okay. I like it, Shara. So Shara's making a motion that we do the Winter Bazaar, provided we can get 4 subcommittee members by the end of the week.
I don't think we need to vote on that necessarily. I don't think that needs to be.
That doesn't feel like a vote.
No,
yeah.
I think there's,
Okay, fair.
Right.
yes.
Well, it does
mean, I
mean that
guess-
like once.
I just want us to decide today for sure whether we're going to do it or not.
I I do feel that the craft fair would be a wonderful way to get the public involved and either to sell the craft items and/or local businesses to promote their businesses. So I think it's important to have that. So I would be on the committee.
I would as well.
Sounds like that's like 4 people. But up to you guys.
Do we have
I'm not
volunteering
volunteering
for
myself.
Not volunteering?
And,
I just did it.
helping like on the day of too doesn't necessarily mean that you're need to be on the committee, right? You can just help on the day of as well.
And also, it doesn't have to be, it can be up to 4 people in the council, but you can have other members of the public part of the committee as well.
Perhaps there's an opportunity for a FCA, FCC collaboration there. A lot of FCs.
I think that would be a really good idea, and I will bring it up to them. Do we, I mean, if
All
we
right.
table this now, then, like, I feel like the timing
Yeah, we
is really
should get
important, that we
started.
need to get word out.
All right, how about we do this? If we go forward, can we vote on a date?
Oh, there you go.
That would
Okay.
be the most, then we can.
Opening the calendar.
Yep.
So it would be the beginning of December would be a smart time, like the December 2nd.
Right. I would say the 2nd or the 9th, probably not any later than the 9th.
No.
I think,
I'd vote for the 2nd personally.
yeah.
That's
I
probably
could
when
help that
holiday
day.
lights were happening that evening, and I think that worked nicely, right?
It actually worked well last
Last year?
year because we had our event and then people, were able to kind of stick around and do the holiday lights thing or run home for a little bit and then come back for
Yeah.
holiday lights, so.
It also, moving more into the month, people have so many engagements already, parties, holiday, there's
Yeah.
much more.
Get their Christmas shopping
December,
early.
December 2nd?
December
Holiday shopping
2nd.
early.
There was a motion made by you?
I can't make motions.
Oh, that's right.
I
All
will
right.
make a motion
Yes.
that the date of the Winter Bazaar, should we proceed, be December 2nd.
Thanksgiving?
Okay.
Thanksgiving, no.
Thank you, AJ.
November.
Oh, AJ beat you to it. So we have a first from Liz, second motion from AJ to do the Winter Bazaar again this year on Saturday, December 2nd. And Shara will speak to the FCA about involvement, and we'll do a subcommittee, so Liz isn't taxed. Okay, we're moving on. Any other events? I think the only thing I wanted to mention, which I blasted by, is for the public that the grants are open until October 17th. And should anybody have questions, feel free to reach out to us. The email for us is fitchburg.mcc@gmail.com. So, yes, Shara?
Yes, I just wanted to mention that the Fitchburg Open Studios is happening again this year, and that will be the weekend of September 29th and October 1st, all around Fitchburg and the region. And there will be maps, and there will be artists in studios and pop-ups, and it's a wonderful way to see a lot of the amazing artists in our area.
September 30th.
First?
September 30th.
September 30th and
September
October
30th
1st.
and October 1st.
Thank you, Shara.
Come check out all the art.
Ellen?
Sorry, on events, since I'm just going to make a plug that through the Creative Cities Create It Dream It grant, there is going to be free yoga classes at Fitchburg Public Library on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. through the end of September. So that is a great opportunity. 6 p.m. Yep, and chair yoga at First Parish United, right at the Common, at 2 p.m. on Tuesdays through the end of September. So try to make it if you can.
Thank you. That's awesome. Anybody else have anything for events while we're on this? No? Anybody?
Not in the moment.
And the public should know can always come and talk to us and share things with us.
Yeah, and you can always check our website, fitchburgculturalcouncil.simple.inc, and it has the community calendar embedded on there, and also a list of all the FCC-funded programs and when those events are happening.
Do we have a link on that site too for to access the applications?
Yes. There's an announcement right now on there with a banner, and it has information of what's eligible and a link to our Mass Cultural Council page. And also, if you have questions about your application, Mass Cultural Council did release a webinar where they went through the application process. I've also been updating the Facebook event for the deadline with other informational things that might help you.
Thank you, Audrey.
And our grant training went well.
And is there a recording of that? There is, isn't there?
There is a recording of that. I guess I could, I'll talk to FATV to have them release it. It's long, but I did a very thorough walkthrough of eligibility as well as the application and what exactly we're looking for each of those questions.
I think,
Or
just
my opinion, I guess.
we could say to the public, it's pretty. A number of us have have done this process before. It's not that complicated.
Yeah.
And certainly the people on the council, any of us would be willing to help if the public needs support on filling it out.
Yeah. We can't, we're a little bit limited to how much we can help, but we can certainly answer some questions about, But if anyone asks you, would this be eligible as an individual, we cannot say, speak for the rest of the council, in which I've been saying, in my opinion, or from what I've seen, but I cannot say how the rest of the council will vote.
I meant in terms of the platform. Like, AJ's looking at me funny. It's the platform.
Yes, no, we're
it's
good.
not that hard. All right, we're going to move on to the last thing on our agenda, which is the minutes to review from last month's meeting. This is the Tuesday, August 15th meeting. Thank you, AJ, for bringing these. So would anybody like to accept these minutes?
Motion to accept.
Thank you,
I
AJ.
second the motion.
So we have a first motion from AJ to accept the minutes as presented, and a second from Shara. Anybody speaking to the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
I
Thank you.
abstain because I wasn't there.
Oh, Audrey abstains. Okay. All right, thank you, guys. So it is 5:09 p.m., and I'm going to accept a motion now to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Ooh, 18.
Have a good night.